Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Evolve Flow Express. Welcome back, any of my audience that's already been here watching my episodes. My name is Keturah Payne, and I have today with me my guest, my bro Joe. And he'll be talking about self awareness today. So I'm going to let him introduce himself and just give you guys a little information about him as well.
Uh, hey, my name is Joseph, but I go by Joe. And as she said, I am her brother. And I know we don't look alike, but yeah, it's my biological sister. So
Blood.
yeah, but I mean, it's not too much about me. I've been doing like computers, working on computers, like software, hardware for years, and here I am as far as like just growing in the world and stuff. But
Okay.
yeah.
So I know that you wanted to talk about self awareness. Like, what did it feel like for you in your moments of becoming more self-aware, and like did you kind of more so self-reflect, become more introspective about it, or was it just a moment of realization?
Um, I would say it was more of a moment of like realization, and this is all pretty recent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would say like I'm not gonna go down the whole line, but throughout my life,
Mm-hmm.
there's been like a long phase of me being like more in a nonchalant sense,
Mm.
and I didn't really see it that way. Like from everybody, letting me know, I didn't really understand like what people meant, but over the years, you kind of start to get some senses and. Yeah, that's one thing I kind of really wanted to get, like why people were saying that, and it really had to do with a lot of emotional intelligence. I didn't really get how I felt about things or how to
Mm-hmm.
like express myself about things.
Mm.
And as I get older, it's not that like uncommon. It's a lot of other, men and people growing up, not just men, even adults, they're just growing up, they're just not really entirely sure how to express themselves. And
Yeah.
they're not like, too open on just letting people know like, yeah, I'm just not good on expressing myself. But that's something you gotta realize about yourself,
Yeah.
and that's the start. So that's what I realized about myself through my situations. It was a lot of moments where I was confused,
Mm.
thinking like, why is this happening and stuff. But you may look at it as like, okay, something is happening to you, but what what about you did you not like? What didn't sit right with you? Like, did you react a certain way? Did you say something off? Did
Yeah.
was there anything that you may not have noticed and you was told, and when you reacted, it was just like, I didn't, that wasn't that important. Like,
Mm-hmm.
man, I've been important to you, but it could have been important to the person you was talking to.
Exactly.
So it's just stuff like that you kind of got to realize about like growing up and having people around you and people in your circle. You kind of got to take consideration of those things.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by like self-awareness and stuff like that.
I definitely agree with that. I mean, as you know, I've had a lot of conversations with you about things, but I've gone through some things, just kind of really realizing, okay, well, yeah, me and this person didn't necessarily click anymore, but what about me made them feel like they could do this, or feel like they can continue this type of treatment, or
Hmm.
these different things. And even in my last episode, I was talking about how when you change your whole way of doing things, a lot of times when you shift, it shifts somebody else's reality of you as well. So it can make them uncomfortable because now their reality is changing. What they thought was really supposed to be like this way all the time, this is how you've been. Now that's a change, and change makes people sometimes very uncomfortable. So, but yeah, I definitely feel that on the self-reflective part of being self-aware as well. So it's good. That means that you actually stepped into that and you didn't just stick with, well,
Hmm.
this happened to me. All right, well, I'm aware that I responded this way, but you actually stepped into the why did I respond this way, which
Yeah.
is a good thing. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, personally, growing up, seeing like a lot of different scenarios from the people I was close to, and this is just on like a man sense, from seeing like a lot of the men going through their situations and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of showed me that there was a like it wasn't just amongst me. I'm this is like a small group. Of course, I don't know all the men in the world, but just from speaking to people, it's pretty common that there's a lot of men that don't really know how to express themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like they kind of just it I don't want to use the word like impulsive, but they kind of have a sense of either just suppressing it and just doing something.
Oh yeah, just
Like
kind
let
of
me just
brushing it
take
off.
care of my situation, or
Hmm.
but they feel a certain way. Like they
Hmm.
may need somebody to talk to, or like whatever they're going through, they never got it out. It's just in them to them. Like
Yeah.
they never talk to anybody about it, or they feel like they can't. But realistically, it's probably because you haven't tried, or you're kind of scared of the outcome. But that's just a part of life. Is what I'm starting to learn. Certain things will happen, but as far as like bottling a lot of stuff in, it's
Hmm.
not really the best way.
Yeah.
It's not the best way. Like it's better to try to, express something or find somebody to talk to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Most definitely. I feel like that's why a lot of people are talking more about therapy, just getting some type of mental help, because a lot of times we're thinking we could just talk to our friends, we could talk to our family, and sometimes it can work.
Hmm.
Sometimes, that can help you process things. But a lot of times you're talking to somebody who didn't learn how to process it as well. They didn't learn how to process their own emotions. They might be a more impulsive person to just hurry up and cut something off if they feel like it's making them uncomfortable, instead of, trying to figure out like, okay, where's the middle ground to this, or where can I find a space, or is it me? Is it me that's making the situation a little bit more, you know, uncomfortable, or how can I say it? I can't even think of the word, but just more hostile. I'll say, making the situation hostile. But a lot of times people truly don't really think that way. They think that, it's everybody else and everything else that's making everything a problem. And I feel like that's why people need someone who's non-biased, like a therapist,
Yeah.
to speak to.
Like being open to your own issues is,
Hmm.
I think that's a really hard thing to do for a lot of people. Like you may not look at your issues as an issue.
Mm.
You just look at why is your situation the way it is,
Hmm.
and it's because of your issues. So that's really like normally what it kind of comes down to. It could be the people you keep coming back to, could be the same habits that you have, but it's normally has to start with you. It's
Yeah.
not really like an outside reflection of you getting an understanding of how the world is working, because the world is going to keep moving and you're just going to grow. But as far as you growing, you would like to learn, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
that's normally where it starts with how you do, like how do you react to a lot of things going on in the world, or how do you respond and stuff like that. What
Hmm.
is your thought? Like that's the stuff that you should have a immediate understanding of instead of trying to figure out the next one's understanding, like first. I think that will help a lot of people's situations, but I
Mm.
can't. I'm not like the oracle.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's just I know, speaking for myself, I feel like if I know more on how I see things and how
Hmm.
I'm like reacting to things and how
Hmm.
things are affecting me, I think I would be better off than having like a confusion state, or seeing like where I stand or trying to question it. It would kind of be a very obvious state.
Okay.
So that's really like what I mean. Like it's pretty much getting an understanding of how things are for you instead of how things are for the world.
So you would agree that, like, that particular aspect of, like, just reviewing things in terms of how you affect things and how they affect you and how you respond and different things like that. Would you agree that you can take that into any relationship, like friendship, romantic, family, you know?
Yes, because it's a two-sided thing when you take it into any other relationship, as far as a friendship,
Mm.
a relationship, any of those. Like if you take it into any of those aspects, it's two sides. You would have to have a more open aspect. Some people kind of add in, what they would prefer,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really like where it goes. But it's not really like a let's see how you feel about it. It's like
Yeah.
this is what I prefer. This is what I want, and these are the standards I have.
Mm.
But realistically, it's not really like a this is another human being. They have their own ways of moving and stuff like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you can't really just be like, stop all of that. This is how you should move for my standards.
Mm.
And that's kind of where I mean by like getting an understanding of what you're okay with and what you're not okay with. Because people's going to be people the same way you should be yourself.
Yeah, I
So,
definitely agree.
yeah, I think it can go into any other situation as far as a friendship or a relationship.
Yeah. I think it helps also, a person set boundaries in a more respectful way rather than just being impulsive. Because a lot of
Mhm.
times I feel like that has a lot to do with the way that people set boundaries in any relationship.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of times people will abruptly be like, "Oh no, I'm not doing that," or you can't do this and this and that. You have to respect my boundaries, and they've never probably set a boundary or kind of let the person know that this is something they don't like. They're kind of like coming from a place of being bottled up. Like you have all these emotions, you let all these things pass,
Mhm.
and now you're at the point where you can't take it no more because you feel like they just should have known and you didn't speak. So I think that being self-aware, understanding how it affects you, and how you respond to it, it will help you set a correct boundary for someone, or in a respectful way where it's not you just being uh, just, I guess, extremely aggressive, all of a sudden, and you just like, rah, 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 I'm not doing this, or you can't do this because I don't want you to do this anymore. Now you're coming from an upset place because this stuff has been bothering you. You never said anything. You never
Yeah.
actually sat down and looked at why do I feel this way? So, I think it definitely helps a lot, to be honest. But yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. Having an emotional intelligence, I think, is a great thing, to be honest with you. And I don't think there's any like peak to like emotional intelligence. I think it's like a forever learning aspect
Mm-hmm.
because everyone's emotions is different. Some people you can maybe be able to relate to how one feels and how the next person feels and all of that, but everyone reacts differently and everyone has different levels to that same emotion that you may be talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the same at that point. That's what I mean by like it's kind of a forever learning aspect of
Mm-hmm.
really whoever you're dealing with. That's the peak. Once you get to the next person, it changes. There's no
Yeah.
peak anymore. It just
Mm-hmm.
keeps going as long as you meet people. So, like having emotional intelligence of yourself is definitely a big plus in meeting people.
Yeah.
For
Honestly, I
sure.
feel like a lot of people lack true emotional intelligence, especially with social media and all the people who are just social media therapists and life coaches that are still trying to figure out life. But it's more so a thing, I feel like, of people thinking that they're emotionally intelligent because they're aware and they're intelligent enough to acknowledge their own emotions. But
Yeah.
when it comes to someone outside of them, they're not able to actually pick up on something that, is more, I guess, middle ground for, or common for both parties. It's more like well, this is how I would do things, and this is how I would like things. This is how it affects me. So why would it not affect you the same way, in a sense? Like it's just more of a comparison thing instead of actually being emotionally intelligent. So what do you think about that, like in terms of your thought on how you've seen things play out on social media?
That's a very good question. Personally, I personally feel like most of the stuff on social media
Mm-hmm.
is not realistic. Like as far as towards the relationship aspect, it's
Mm.
really like a structure build. Like okay, let's build it off of a competition set. On if I feel this way, then you're supposed to do this. If you feel this way, then you're supposed to do this. Or as far as like you coming into my life, you're supposed to already have these understandings and you don't even know me yet. I didn't even tell you like certain things or you didn't see certain things. It's
Mm-hmm.
just you're supposed to have this automatic understanding of how I feel. But realistically, you don't know me. So it's impossible. Most of the stuff don't really add up to like a realistic relationship.
Yeah.
People don't always feel that way when somebody may do something. Some people may be okay with some of the actions the next person's not okay with.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's really down to knowing your partner on a deeper level than you trying to just satisfy your partner. Like, most people satisfy the person that they're with instead of trying to understand the person that they're with while not forgetting about themselves. And that is very difficult, but I think that is why those issues kind of come about. Like if you go down the years, you're looking at the satisfaction of your partner because you're thinking about, you know, I love this person. I want them to experience happiness. I want them to
Mm-hmm.
be great. But what about you? This is two-sided story.
Mm-hmm.
You have your own path, they have their own path. Y'all both are supposed to be happy. It shouldn't be a full satisfaction towards one direction. So that's what I mean by like, you kind of have to know your partner on both ends. The partner should know you, and you should know your partner, and that takes time. You have to build that, but it should never just be like a you satisfy my emotional needs,
Mm.
while whatever emotions you've dealt with from whatever actions that happened for you to satisfy these needs doesn't matter. So it's like you have your emotions from having to satisfy my needs, but that part does not matter. You just need
Mm-hmm.
to satisfy my needs. When your needs are needed to be satisfied, we'll come to that. That's not realistic. That's what I mean.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so I feel like you touched on a lot of good points about being emotionally intelligent, and just all aspects of relationships as well. Um, in terms of friendships, um, me knowing you, I know you had to come to some realizations in certain friendships and stuff like that, getting older. Do you feel like those were abrupt realizations or realizations that were kind of already there, but just kind of came to a full end point of, okay, this is the full circle of this is my decision on this particular friendship, and I got to make this. Because for me, I know with my long term, friendship, it took like 4 years for me to process everything. So do you feel like you had a time frame of processing that, and how did you become, I guess, more secure in your decision?
um, that's a good question. To be very honest, I've always been like on the more genuine side of friendships. Like, if y'all really kind of look at it like, nah, I really want bro to be great, or I really want my homegirl to be great, whether the
Mm-hmm.
two. If you kind of really have like a genuine sense on that, there really is no points of where like you're gonna have any moments of doing something like to that partner where it's like, okay, I'm gonna put you in a contradicting moment where asking for too much favors or pretty much something
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In those senses, I've had a lot of those friendships more so than anything, and they kind of really wasn't like a big deal to me for the favor because I'm thinking on the genuine aspect of like, this is what you need, this is what you want to do, this is how we gonna hang out. You ask for a favor, I help you out. That's how we hang out. You feel me? But realistically, that goes into the same point I said earlier on the satisfactory sense. You're just satisfying the next person's needs.
Yep.
That goes
Yeah.
into anything as well. It doesn't really do anything for what you need. You're thinking you have a friend, you're thinking you have a partner, because it's like when y'all are around each other in those moments, of course, you're going to talk about what you do and, the things like you may want to do in the future, like your goals and your needs and stuff like that. But that's the only time you talk about them when they ask for the favors. You're not
Yeah.
like just hitting your friend up and saying, "How you doing? Let me check on you. Let me see what you got going on. You good? Everything okay?" It's not really like that. It's more so just the favors. So
Mm.
I'm like, if you kind of notice that over time, you may it's gonna build up to the point where you probably stop hanging around them that much,
Yeah.
or you kind of may not talk to them that much. And once the conversation comes down to it, when you let them know, it comes to light. It will definitely show you. But that's something I've really had to deal with in a long term sense. Like, I had to deal with a lot of me satisfying whoever was around me needs. Like, if you need this, sure. If you need that, sure. But as far as like what I needed, when I tried to state those things, it didn't really matter. It was like, what you doing? Like, you're doing too much. So,
So what you doing, Fitz? What you doing?
yeah, I mean, that's how it was. So, like, you can't really ignore you in
Yeah.
your situations. You can't just look at like whoever you're around, like, yeah, I got my homies, or I got my girlfriend, or I got my homegirl. Any of these people that you're around, they're just other people, but you made relationships with them. You are still another person as well. You can't
Mm-hmm.
forget about yourself. It's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much what I'm meaning.
Yeah.
And some people take that to like the next level of thinking like they got to do the most and, walk over people and stuff, but no, you just can't forget about yourself. That's really what I mean.
Yeah.
And you know, that's a long journey, but yeah.
Yeah. I definitely battle a lot with a balance of not like doing too much to where I'm like feeling like morally wrong, like in my moral compass, I would say, and then also not doing too much to where I'm like just the people pleaser, and I'm feeling like I don't have no friends, or I don't have nobody who truly cares about me. I'm just taking care of everybody else, and
Mm.
I feel like it can take you to a point of being disgruntled about things, because you won't really realize it until you really be down and tired, and you thinking like all this time like, oh, I'm just helping people out, I'm helping people out, but then you will eventually start to realize nobody's helping me, like, and it's not a thing of like a favor for favor type of deal. It's
Yeah.
more so a thing of reciprocation, like, what I'm saying, if or reciprocity, I think that's what it is. If you are doing something, you're not necessarily looking for the same thing exactly in return, but you're looking for at least some type of give and take, action here, because that's really how things work. It's a give and take. You can't just be take, and eventually there will be nothing to take.
Yeah.
If I take all the leaves off of a tree, like this tree back here, there would be nothing. There would be nothing eventually if I don't allow it to grow back or give it food and, different things like that, water to grow. Obviously it's the same thing. And I think that people, when we look at the next person, we're not thinking in that aspect. We're thinking that there's nothing being taken away. They still look the same. They look like they're okay with.
Yeah.
In reality, they're not. But it's in accordance to us kind of just looking at things from a physical aspect. And I don't think that we look at it energy wise, you know. That is a thing to bring up as well. When I talk about energy, I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily look at that aspect in life in general. Do you feel like do you look at energy as more so of a thing of just like, I'm tired, or I got enough energy to go out and do these different things? Or do you more so look at it as like uh, a vibe, like how we more so say like your vibe is off, or like, what I'm saying, the energy's off up in here, or something's off? Do you kind of like pick up on things like that? Do you feel like you do when you walk into spaces?
Yes, very much so. Like how you asked me about the whole friendships thing, like
Mm-hmm.
it abruptly ending and stuff like that. Yeah, that was mainly like me picking up on certain vibes from me being more realistic with myself and expressing it, and seeing how I'm getting my responses, seeing how people's like talking about it. The more I talk about it, like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, yeah, I started this. I started doing this. I got back into this, or I've been doing this lately. How people
Mm-hmm.
respond to those things, that like you're kind of getting back into things you really want to do, instead of making sure you hang out with whoever this person is.
Yeah.
You're just making sure you have something for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When people respond to those things, that's normally based off of like energy, because it may be like, oh yeah, that's great, but you can obviously tell like you don't care.
Yeah.
Like you don't care. You won't even ask me about that after I mention it.
Yeah. Like, okay.
Like you
Cool.
don't care. So it's like stuff like that. That's from people but people you don't know, I feel like you're definitely gonna walk into a room and sometimes tell if people's looking at you like, oh, you probably think highly of yourself, or you
Mm.
probably, you look like you may think you're unapproachable or something like that, but really you just take care of yourself. You just
Yeah.
look nice or something like that, or you
Mm.
just, coming in to have a conversation with somebody. You're not thinking about like, oh yeah, I look so nice, and that's just how you look.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot of people may look at things differently when it comes to energy, but I feel like you can tell a lot of things off of energy, personally.
Yeah. Most definitely. I feel like there's been definitely some times walking into a room or into a space, and I'm just like, why are they looking at me like that? Like, what's wrong? But I also realized that, and just from listening to people, sometimes it might look like somebody is disgruntled, or they don't like the way you look, or they have a problem with, you know what I'm saying, the way you're carrying yourself. But a lot of times that could be jealousy, that could be intimidation, that
Yeah.
could be, you know, a lot of different things, but it can come off differently than what it's, you know, looking like more so. Or what it actually is, not what it's looking like, but what it actually is. Like people really do easily get intimidated, or, you know,
Yeah.
easily feel like belittled, or like, you know, just it'd be weird things, in my opinion. Sometimes it can be weird because it's not something you probably would react to.
Yeah.
Probably would be like, oh, they look nice. They're probably over there like, why they dressed up so nice? Like,
Yeah.
what are they not? Because now they feel like they underdressed or something. It's just crazy. But yeah, I definitely got that a couple of times. Even growing up, like, oh, why is she walking like that? Why is she looking all high and mighty? And that's because I think of myself as something. I think that I am a little high and mighty, maybe. You know, maybe I am
Yeah.
feeling myself today. I'm feeling good. You know, and I used to practice walking with confidence because of the lack of self-esteem that I had. Like I
Yeah.
had self-esteem issues. So it was like, okay, I gotta kind of fake it till I make it. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna fake it
Real
till I make it.
manifestation.
Yeah. And so like now I'm confident. I'm confident in the way I like to dress. I'm confident in, you know, what I want to do, regardless. You know what I'm saying? Like I've gotten responses, same way you said, picking up on friendships, like, you know, their energy, how they respond to like something you're doing, or, you know, I gotten responses like, you ready for that? Or, you know, different things like that. And I'm like, I've talked about this for a minute now. Like, it's kind of crazy.
Something I've been planning. Definitely ready.
So yeah, I feel like that is a common thing to like deal with, honestly, out here in the world. It's inevitable.
Yeah, you don't really want to associate yourself too much with like weird like responses when you're trying to go on like a positive path.
Yeah.
You're trying to think like, yeah,
You're
I want
trying to
to be
avoid
happy.
it.
Like I want to smile and laugh.
Right.
You don't want to really like have people be like, "You sure about that? What you mean?"
What you mean?
Of course, I'm sure about that. It makes me happy.
Yeah, like now I know that I'm definitely not gonna have you in my corner.
Yeah, like, I'm trying to smile.
Facts. I feel like
So-
that's one of the hardest things I think to do, especially with people that you care about, you
Yeah,
love. Like you're expecting for them to. They don't have to necessarily like be on the same path. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be a part of your team, and you know, I'm gonna be a part of your marketing or nothing. But I mean, at least be supportive. Like, okay, that's good that you want to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so how that's going? You know, like even a closer, you know, Bassie, you know, she was very supportive. Like, you know, when I talked about the podcast, she was very excited. A lot of people were very excited about the podcast. Some people seemed like they didn't really care. A lot of people, actually, a couple of people really. Yeah. But, you know, and now that I'm starting up, people are like, oh, you have a podcast? Oh, wow, you have a podcast? Yes, I have a podcast. Yep, I do. And I'm proud of myself for actually going through with it and not setting back because somebody is asking me questions to make me question myself and my ability to do it. So, yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Definitely
I'm proud
feel
of you too.
Thank
That's
you.
good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Look at that. Bro. Anyhow, so yeah. I feel like, you know, honestly, those things are great. Did you want to talk to...
Oh. I don't
Why
know.
you like-
Because it was blinking. I'm like, it's blinking like a bomb. I don't know what's going on.
Anyhow, that will conclude this episode, you all. Thank y'all for watching, and thank my brother for at least being my guest today. I love the conversation. Stay tuned, and I'll have my next episode. Please like, subscribe, and comment. I would love to hear you guys' feedback. I'll see you next time. And that's how I feel like everything's working out for my greater good, for everyone's greater good. If anything, even if it don't work out, something greater is down the line.